Hello guys, my name is Lilith and this is the requested my tattoos video. I asked you guys on Instagram if you guys wanted to see a tattoo video first or an art school FAQ. A lot of you guys did tattoos, so that's why we're doing this right now. As you can see in the background, I recently moved out of the apartment where I stayed with my sister. I really like it here and I have a lot of space to work. So I'm very excited to be able to create new content for you guys. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into the video. As of now, I think I have 1, 2, 3. Let's start with my very first tattoo ever. I got this tattoo when I was, I want to say 19 years old or 20. How old was I? I got it done in Northern California near my home. It was done by my ex-best friend's ex-boyfriend. At the time, he was an apprentice for a parlor, so she asked him if he would be down to do like a very simple small tattoo. So as you can see here, it's just a little 0 on the side of my middle finger on my left hand. Originally, it was supposed to be a circle. I went into this hoping that I could get a perfect circle, but I forgot to factor in how the tattoo would look like once my fingers are relaxed. He tattooed me with my posture like this, and then when it was like this, it was more of a round circle, and then when I stretched it out, it looks more like a 0. I really like this tattoo because I can kind of hide it with my hand, as you can see here. It's sort of like half hidden. It's like peeking a little bit, and I really like that. And whenever I draw or post a photo of like me with a coffee cup or something, you can sort of see the tattoo with just a little bit of it, and I really like that. Initially, when I first got it done, I felt like the line was a little too thick, but he said that this was the thinnest that he could go at the time. But as the years have gone by, I've learned to accept and love this tattoo. I like it a lot more now, and as I grow older, I will like it even more. Because this was my first one, I was very worried about the pain, which is why it's so small. But then you would think that I would have gotten it at a less painful area because finger tattoos hurt a lot. So the reason why I wanted to get a tattoo was because at the time I felt like there was this invisible change in my life. I felt different even though I couldn't put a finger on what it was. Looking back now, I can recognize that it's because my third eye opened. I know this is like a separate video conversation, but it was when I was able to see things and I became awake, as me and my friend would say. When I woke up, I guess, I felt sort of restless because there was something that I was supposed to be doing, but I didn't know what. This was also when I was taking a break from school. At the time, my stepfather was very ill and I wasn't doing so well either in LA, so I took a break, I went back home, and I was deciding on whether or not I should transfer. My sister wasn't home. I believe she already started RISD. I just wasn't very happy at art center at the time, and I wondered if a lot of people experience this. You know, if you take a gap year and you go home, it almost feels like nothing had happened. It almost feels like everything you learned after you've left home no longer exists. Like my parents sort of treated me as if I was still in high school a little bit, you know? Being in a very suburban town, I didn't have much motivation to work on my portfolio or my art. I only did what was necessary. I mean, I applied for transferring to RISD, so I got that part done, but I really didn't do much personal work outside of the portfolio. That time of my life, 2016, 2017, was very turbulent, and there were a lot of hardships internally within my family, and also just regarding what I wanted to do career-wise or school-wise, academic-wise. The circle was supposed to represent card 0. It actually kind of worked out that this looks like a 0, I guess. Card 0 of the major key in tarot, which is the Fool. At the time, I really felt like I associated with this card. I felt like it symbolized the chapter that I was going through in my life. Chapter of an almost reckless hope, the momentum to move forward. I really wanted to embody that. I chose the left hand for a couple of reasons. First of all, I am right hand dominant, and because I am an illustrator, I draw a lot with my right hand, and I know that if I'm constantly rubbing on the tattoo, since it's a finger tattoo, it would fade faster. The second reason is because I've assigned the left side of my body to govern sort of anything that has to do with spirituality, or what some may call the occult studies, I guess. Divination, you know, like tarot, astrology. I wanted a part of my body to house those energies, so it's on this side, whereas the right side of my body governs more day-to-day tasks or the energy that sort of outputs into the physical world, like things that actually manifest. So for example, like my drawings, my writing. The second tattoo I ever got is the sword on my right forearm. So the second one I got is right here. It's a little bit hard to show when it's like, I wanted these tattoos to be visible to me so that whenever I look down or when I'm doing something, they're sort of laid out perfectly from like a downward, like up-down angle. Well, this was done by MJ at West 4 Tattoo in Manhattan. I'm hoping to go back sometime because I really would like to get a tattoo done by chain as well. I'm thinking maybe a dragon or another snake, perhaps. I feel like one is already enough, but maybe a bigger one. The reason why I got this tattoo was because I was going through a breakup at the time. Yeah, it kind of sucked, but because I was very upset, I sort of wanted to channel that pain and that resentment into a more like productive outcome rather than lashing out at people in my life. I thought maybe once it's done, you know, just let it go and just not dwell on it anymore. So this tattoo, because it's single needle, it did hurt a little bit more. Let me think. If I were to recall from now, I feel like it hurt about the same as a 0. It was only about 5-6 minutes, whereas for this one it was a little over an hour. She also went back in and touched up with white ink in the areas, especially at the handle and the side of the blade. I really like elongated silhouettes and shapes because I feel it hurts. Because I feel like I'm sort of a long noodle, so I want my tattoos to also be a long noodle. So they're all very linear, the overall gesture of the tattoo. Even this one, I would say, right? Yeah, so like the sword is swords are always double-edged, and it's about wielding the sword to work in your favor. That's why I chose the orientation to be like this. When I was getting this tattoo, this was December 2017, like almost 2018, and that time in my life, my tarot card has switched from being the Fool to being card 8, Strength. In some tarot decks it's card 12, but I followed the original, so it's 8. This is a personal reminder of the strengths and powers I do have and to not misuse those powers. The third tattoo I got was around my 22nd birthday, so late April 2018. It is this one right here. As you can see, it is a somewhat coiled serpent. So these two are actually sort of a match. They go together. The snake is a little bit bigger than the sword. I'm pretty happy with it. It doesn't really bother me that they're not exactly the same length. I chose a snake for my left side because this is supposedly the feminine side of the body. I also chose a snake because I changed my name to Lilith. I'm not sure how many of you guys know, my birth name is not Lilith, and I changed it right around when I first got this tattoo. So right around like 2017, I felt like a part of me died because I was just in such a bad place emotionally, mentally. There was no will or desire to live or to do anything. I wasn't dead, but I wasn't living either. I don't even know if I'm gonna include that. That's like a little triggering, I think. What else? There's a whole story about Lilith that I sort of just don't want to go into in this video. If you're interested, I can link it down below. You guys can check it out. Because my mother remarried, so I'm changing to my stepfather's last name. And I thought, might as well change my first name too. I just never really felt like I identified fully with it. I think that's the wonderful thing about tattoos. As I grow, they change and grow with me. I never really think of them as a finished product. You know, a lot of people seem to worry about, oh, like once it's on your skin forever, you might get tired of like the style or the motif, and then you're gonna tattoo over it or laser it, or like how do you know that you're gonna commit to this for the rest of your life? And I feel like that's sort of asking like, how do you know you're gonna commit to yourself for the rest of your life, you know? Like, are you just gonna wake up one day and like quit being yourself? Is that possible? I wish it was, but I'm sort of stuck in this body, so I have all these little trinkets and charms that I can take with me to make that journey a little easier. So that's how I feel about tattoos overall. So my most recent tattoo, I got it done by my friend Maggie. It's a little bit silly, I think. I got a drooping flower because Maggie, her tattoo account is called Droopsies and she does a lot of drooping flowers. I asked for the rose emoji. I feel like that's kind of silly compared to all my other tattoos. This one's a little more goofy, not goofy, more playful I suppose. I wanted a rose in this particular part of my body because I wanted it to be, you know, an intimate tattoo so that you don't really get to see it unless, you know, you're somebody special, I guess. This one did not hurt at all. I remember feeling extremely ticklish. I guess that was kind of painful in some ways because I was enduring that for a while and you can't really move and you can't really scratch it. But it didn't hurt. As for the finger tattoos, these are done by my friend Iris. She doesn't tattoo anymore, I think. She was just sort of like testing it out and like playing around with the idea of tattooing. And I sort of volunteered myself as guinea pig. I feel like that's not the safest thing to do, but at the time, I wasn't very smart about many things in my life. So I got these done. This one matches with my ex. And I know people say like you shouldn't get matching tattoos, but honestly I don't regret it at all. It could be because it's so small, but when I look at it, it still makes me really happy. So it's sort of nice knowing that I'm still connected to somebody who was important to me in the past. I think that's my Cancer moon speaking. And yeah, so these are all my tattoos. Not that many, I know, but I am planning on getting another tattoo. I really want to get one done by my friend Sam, probably on my left leg now. You see I'm doing like an asymmetrical thing. So the style of the rose sort of goes with the style of the serpent because they're both kind of soft and curved. So I think for my left leg I might go with a harder or shinier looking object to go with the sword. I might even get one with a longer stem in the future, like maybe above my hip bone or something, I'm not sure. That would be kind of nice too, I think. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was enjoyable. I hope I answered some of your questions. If you have any thoughts about getting tattoos, or if you want to tell me about why you got tattoos, please leave them in the comments. I would love to read them. Have a wonderful day or night, and I will see you soon. Bye! Bye bye! Yeah. Okay, seriously though, I'm gonna go eat. I'm really hungry, so.